Today we're reading from Psalm 46 in the NIV. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice. The earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." I have to confess I was thrilled that this song was one of my choices for a thought for the day. It's one of my favourites. Now I'm struck with its relevance 2,000 years later. It literally could have been written yesterday. Verse 1, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Not God will you be, not God bring refuge and strength, not God provide. God is. He's the very embodiment of being a refuge, of strength. I think that is a remarkable start. He already is. And then the psalm goes on, verse 2 and 3. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. These verses conjure up in my mind images of things like mountains of ice shearing off as the ice caps melt and falling into the sea, of disasters like the Australian bushfires last summer. I can't imagine facing those sorts of situations and being able to stand there and say, I'm not fearing because I've got my God. I have to confess, I think I would still be afraid. And I think this is also metaphorical, not just literal. I think when you lose a loved one, I think when you discover that someone you love or yourself are sick, when something enormous happens, you can feel like the ground beneath your feet crumbles and gives way. The foundation you stand on can give way. And here the psalmist is saying, even in that situation, I will not fear. And then we go on to verse 4, which is one of my most favourite verses in all of Scripture. And I'm sure many of you are the same. We all have verses that resonate more than others. And I remember when I first read this, it undid me. It's beautiful. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God. Now here, our fields are saturated with rain and more recently, the wonderful snow. In Jerusalem, there is no main river. There are just streams. So this promise is extraordinary in that context. The thought of a river that brings life in all abundance is an enormous promise. God is within her, verse 5. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. And I think of when I when I walk my dog in the morning. I leave in the dark with a head torch, and I arrive back home just as dawn is breaking. And I have that image in my head when I read verse 5. God will help her at break of day. God will bring light in the dark. And sometimes dawn comes on the horizon and little fingers of light slowly touch everything. And suddenly I realise it's light. And sometimes it's dark and I can see dawn on the horizon. And then it's like there's a burst of light and there's a huge, amazing sunrise that suddenly appears. And that's what God's like. He appears in the darkness and brings glorious light. God's our fortress. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He is all authority, all power. And I want to close this on verse 10, which is such a well-worn verse. I have prayed it over so many people. People have prayed it over me. I've contemplated it, worked it through, sat with it, found comfort in it. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. In the context of this psalm, how powerful is that? In this psalm that says, God is our refuge and strength. He's present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, even if the very foundation we stand on falls into the sea, even if everything we know to be true disappears. There's a river, abundant in life, that brings life in the driest of places. God is in the midst of us. He'll help us. He'll bring light in the darkest of places. Therefore, be still and know that I am God. I think right now, as we are in another lockdown, another time of uncertainty, I think this is a call to trust. It's a time of faith, and it's a time that we have to really rest on that particular verse. And so I am really praying that that is as real for each and every one of you as it is for me today. That today you can be still and know that He is God. Amen.